Alright, you guys, one of my most hyped games for the year is Street Fighter 6. I've been there for the release of Street Fighter 4, release for Street Fighter 5, and now I'm greatly anticipating the release of Street Fighter 6. I am just through the moon excited, and ever since this kind of hype cycle began, I've had the opportunity to play the closed beta, one of the closed betas before. We played the demo, and now we have the open beta, and this is the first time that online has been available to essentially everybody, as long as you have a PS5, Xbox Series X or S, or PC. And man, I've been having such a fun time. One of the things that I noticed playing this game is kind of how wild everyone's playing it. This is early into a fighting game, so you have the most amount of people playing this game at all times, and no one really knows exactly how to play the game. I did figure out some stuff on my own, some stuff that I feel like worked. So real quick, I wanted to give out some like quick beginner tips from a casual to another casual. So just to preface this, I'm a casual in the sense I've played tons of Street Fighter's games, but I never competed in them like seriously or actually ever took it that serious. It was just something between me and my brothers that we always played and had a tons of fun doing. So take all my tips with a grain of salt. If you're someone who's like deep in the FGC and you've like mastered links and combos, etc., etc., this might not be the good video for you. This is just, again, strictly as a casual playing the game, what I've learned based off of my experience with Street Fighters and other fighting games, as well as just other video games in general. The first thing I really want to stress out to people is, if you're not great at fighting games, or if you're not really that used to Street Fighter specifically, do ranked play. Do not play casual, because in casual you're just going to get beat down, or you're not going to really know or get a hang of who you're playing against. Versus in ranked, it's going to kind of tier you, and it's going to like start you off with everyone who's like beginner. And yeah, there's going to be some people in like the rookie ranks and iron ranks that are clearly not meant for those ranks, but they're going to rank out real fast, and it's going to leave you in a pool of people at your level. The first thing that I quickly noticed that a lot of people were doing, especially in the like bottom tier ranks, is they seem to have mastered one combo and they kept trying to get that combo on me. So currently right now I'm like the 4-star ranked in iron, and I did so without any kind of training, any kind of practice, any kind of learning any combos, etc. I kind of just picked the character that I know. So I've always played with Ken since like Street Fighters 2. He's just the character that I'm the most familiar with, so I kind of just kept playing with him, as well as kind of feeling out some of the new mechanics within Street Fighter 6. So if you guys don't know, every Street Fighter's games brings a new meta, a new kind of mechanics and gameplay flow, and Street Fighter 6 adds something crazy different to Street Fighter's games with the drive meter. The drive meter is your meter below your health bar, and it kind of works for a lot of things. It works, you can use it to use like special techniques like drive rush, drive impact, you can parry, stuff like that, and it's very interesting. And I feel like before you want to learn how to do like combos or anything like that, master the drive gauge and how you manage that drive gauge. One of the things you're going to notice really early on, especially with the bottom tiers, is everyone's just going to be throwing out drive impact at you. Try to avoid just randomly, carelessly throwing out drive impact, because yes, drive impact when landed and used properly can set you up for a really good position to do things like the combos or an ultra finisher or something like that. But again, steer clear of it unless you know it's a safe move to make. So you might be asking yourself, if you shouldn't be really using drive impact as much, and you find yourself in a position where everyone's just kind of throwing out drive impact like crazy, what should you do in response to drive impact? Now, the things that I found worked out the best for drive impact is, if they're doing a drive impact them back. So whoever does drive impact last wins this kind of battle between impact. The second option is, if you're close enough, grab them. Grabbing them breaks a drive impact, and this is where I feel like a lot of people were underutilizing grab. The grab in this game is super strong, and it's super useful for a lot of situations. Again, I can't stress how useful grab is, at least in like the early tiers. Grab was working really well to stop people from doing drive impact. There's also drive parry, so if you see someone that's just parrying your moves, you can mix them up by doing a throw in between. That way you make sure you you break their parry. And the final thing that I thought was really, really useful with grabbing or throwing people is when someone is getting off the ground and you rush them, they're usually not really anticipating a throw, or vice versa. If you're on the ground and you're getting up on wake up, make sure you throw them. The outcome whenever I would throw on wake up would usually be one of two things. Either I would wake up, they were not anticipating a grab, and I was able to throw them, or they were trying to throw me as well. So me doing throw on wake up just kind of like did like a throw counter. So we just all go back to our corners essentially, and you restart like normal, and you have a fresh start. The next big thing I want to tell you about that is for sure gonna happen, and that's if you don't manage your drive gauge properly, you're gonna get burnt out. And getting burnt out is very tricky because you technically lose all your abilities to kind of counter a lot of their drive gauge. So you lose your drive impact, you lose your drive parry, your drive rush, etc. And you kind of feel naked and alone, and it's very nerve-wracking. The biggest tip that I can tell you is if you enter burnout, try not to back up. Try not to get into a position where you're on the defensive now, because you're defensively weaker than the opposition. If you block, you take chip damage. And if they feel they have the pressure on you, they're going to apply that pressure. So just kind of remain cool and definitely try to fight back. The next big thing I want to talk about is when you run into a player that's clearly better than you. If you're fighting up against someone that is probably not really in their ranking, they're supposed to be higher, but they're kind of working their way through it, or they just picked up the game a lot faster than you are, and you're kind of like, you feel stuck, like everything you do is not really doing the damage you want it to do, or you're not really in the position you want to be in all the time, and you do inevitably run into the player that is better than you, breathe, remain calm, and kind of analyze your situation. If you're losing currently to this person, why are you losing? Are you going up to them offensively and they're just offensively better than you? Then go on the defensive, back up, maybe throw some Hadoukens or something. Consider the situation and what you're doing and how it's not working. If you're fighting defensively and you can't out defense them, fight offensively. Mix them up and keep them on their toes. Make sure that they are aware that you're watching their movements and that you're not just going to keep doing the same thing and allow them to steamroll over you. The next big thing I do want to say about this too is make small little goals for yourself. If you got steamrolled by that person one round, maybe don't anticipate to win the next round, but anticipate to get close to winning or something. Keep setting goals. That way you make yourself feel better. Do not feel bad if you lose or if you're just outclassed by somebody, because this is a game. Some people are better than others. That's just the way it is. But just kind of keep your cool and remember to always make sure you're having fun, and honestly try your best. We don't believe in participation trophies around here, but sometimes hey, as long as you're having fun, we're all real winners, aren't we all? The last final tip I want to tell you, as someone who plays the game and plays the game for fun above all else, make sure you're having fun. Keep things simple, that way you don't stress yourself out, and work your way up. You can't start learning the biggest, most optimal combos if you don't understand the fundamentals. If you don't understand your character, their basic normal move sets, their basic combos and timing, if you don't understand the drive gauge or how to manage the drive gauge and your health bar, there's no point in you trying to practice the most optimal combo and then trying to actually use it in a real fight. It's not really going to work out that well, and you're not really going to be having as much fun. This game is designed to be a fun game at its core. Learn its core. Learn why this game is decades old and why people love Street Fighters. Back in the day when people were on arcade cabinets when Street Fighters first came out, no one was trying to learn optimal combos. You just kind of run into them and figure them out over time. And yes, the fighting game community has grown exponentially since then, and we've learned a lot of things that we shouldn't do. But do not overstress yourself with the idea that you have to win EVO, that you have to be competing at a level that you see people on YouTube doing. You don't need to do that, man. Just have fun with the game, take what you can, and grow at your own pace. Those are all my tips that I've had playing the game. Let me know if you guys been playing the beta, if you guys enjoyed it. If you found my tips helpful, please let me know down below. If you found my tips are just hogwash and useless, hey, let me know as well. These are just my takes from playing the game. Maybe you guys have better takes, and there's definitely people way more qualified to talk about it. I just feel like maybe if you're going into this game, it might be nice to hear how it from another casual's perspective. Do me a favor, like the video if you guys enjoyed it. Please consider subscribing as it does help me out tons. And with that, I'll see you guys on the next one.